And 3, 2, 1. What's up, George? What's going on in the House of Craze tonight?
In the House of Craze tonight, we are talking with the Starrs. We're also going to be talking about shrinking. Figure that out. We'll be right back.
Stop looking, man. Let's get it.
We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the Dreamer, Medina, and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your mans, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the Craze. If you are an independent, catch the Craze. Making moves on your own, catch the Craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the Craze. Join the movement, catch the Craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the Craze. Welcome to Catch the Craze podcast. I'm your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Vera, and I am with
George, the Dreamer, Medina. What's happening, everyone? Welcome to another exciting episode of Catch the Craze. It is Tuesday, November 25th. It is the week of Thanksgiving. What up, Lou? And we are coming to you live. It is 5 p.m. local for me, where I am. Sam is somewhere in an undisclosed location.
so
sitting in the
far
dark.
away.
So far away.
Doesn't anybody
And,
stay in one place anymore?
All right, we're starting with the singing early tonight. Yes, if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to the channel, like, comment, do all those fun things. We have a great show for you guys tonight. We have a dynamic duo coming on, and we're going to be talking to them about their book, and we're also going to be talking about shrinking. What the hell does that mean?
I don't
You're
know
going
what
to
that
find out.
is, bro. I don't know
You're
what
going
that
to
is.
find out right
Yeah, man, stop
after
looking.
our guest.
It was cold. It was cold.
Sammy, what's happening, my brother? What are you up to? What are you up to?
What am I up to? I'm working on. Well, I'm waiting for Kickstarter to give me my funds so I can start sending Forbidden out to get the proofs. But once it should clear by this weekend, and so once it does, look at your inboxes because you'll be flooded with all of the digital rewards. Even so, all the digital stuff will be sent out this weekend. So you'll all get it, and then once I get the proofs back and I approve them, then I will start. Then I'll send it to print, and then sometime in January I'll be shipping everything out to everybody. So that's going, and then I'm also, promoting Cosmic Wars, which launches in February. Right there's Gorf right there, right? He is the guardian of the Arthenian Starr, and he's coming across the cosmos, and he's bringing the heat, and it's going to be fun. And if you watched me this past weekend on Drawing with Friends, I did Princess Reina. And there's the step-by-step process. So there's Princess Reina, and she is the heir to the throne of Crystalia. And it happened too soon because she wasn't ready because she lost her dad. But now she has to rule in a universe, in a kingdom that's been dominated by men. So she has to fight that stigma and prove herself. But not only that, she has to find the fallen hero, where Gorf comes in. He is the protector of the Athenian Starr. He blamed himself for her father's demise, so he went into exile, and she needs him for the upcoming battle. So it's fun, it's exciting. It's the first book I've ever created. Fabio of Cosmic Wars, Gorfio, wow. So yeah, I'm excited about that, and sign up for the launch of Cosmic Wars on Kickstarter. And, if you sign up, you'll get a copy of the digital sketchbook that I did with all the characters for the Cosmic Wars universe. Yeah, man. So I'm hoping to, get over 100 signups before we launch. It's going to be fun. It's exciting, and I can't wait. It's he's the first character I created. I created him when I was in my teens, bro.
Yeah,
So long time ago. That was, I tell you, when when Moses was parting the sea, I was standing there and I had gel in I just did my hair. I was like, yo, and then he parted the sea and I got wet. I said, yo, Mo, yo, tell a brother, warn me first, bro. Messed up my hair. It wasn't a good look. And but so I was there for a minute, back in the day. So I'm excited about Cosmic Wars, and then taking the time off for the holidays. And next year is convention season, so I got 3 things lined up for next year so far: Texelmo Comic Con, LitCon, and Free Comic Book Day book signing. So announced the LCS that I'll be doing a book signing at on Free Comic Book Day. So that's what I got going on right now. What about you, Magoo?
So I have I sent out the surveys last week for the Kickstarter, for the Shameless Plug Kickstarter. If you pledged to the campaign, thank you so much. Those surveys went out and they are coming back. So thank you very much to everyone who has filled out the survey. If you haven't done so yet, please do so, because I need to know where to send you your stuff. And Kickstarter finally sent the funds to my Banco. So that's
Banco Popular.
Yeah, stuff cleared on Monday. The books are off to the printer, and I'm waiting for all that stuff to come back. The books, the prints, stickers, all that fun stuff will be back soon. And then I will be shipping it out to you guys. So get ready. I can't wait for that to start. Fulfillment is always fun, right, Sam?
Word.
But you have to fill out the surveys. So please fill out your surveys. I will be sending out messages, individual messages. I'm not going to do an update and harass everybody, especially when most of you have already done them. So I will be sending that out. And then, it's the holiday season. So I'm done with shows. Next year, I'm going to start booking some. I will be definitely doing one in Jersey in April. And I am going to be doing the New York Comic Con. And I probably will be doing Baltimore most likely. But I don't have anything for the first half of the year set up yet. So, and I'll be in Texoma with Mr. Vera.
Yeah. We're going to hit the casino, and it's usually tradition to go find a movie at the casino. Let's see what's playing next this time.
We is out. Yeah. We caught, what was the last time? We saw, what was it, The Beekeeper? Was that
the Beekeeper? That was legit.
That was money. That was a good movie.
Yo, and the popcorn at that casino is on fire.
So that's what's going on. I will be doing obviously shows and all that other stuff, but don't forget that Wonder Duck is in stores. So the next issue comes out next month, December. I think it's the second week in December. I got to check the schedule. And so if you haven't done so yet, go into your comic book shop, tell them you want Wonder Duck, and have them order it. You can go to my website and order it there. And I'm sure I'll think of other stuff that I have going on. But yeah, next year's going to be fun, man. I'll have the graphic novel for the Shameless Plug completed. So that'll be a good time. And yeah, man, just keep creating. We're going to keep doing our thing.
Yeah, when I think about Baltimore, I think about The Wire.
The Wire.
Remember The Wire? That was a legit series, man.
Good movie. Yeah, good stuff. Dude, The Wire is legit how Baltimore looks most of the time. George, the survey you sent is the only one I've received on Kickstarter that is looking for feedback. Wow, really? Wow, thanks, Lou. Yeah. I had a question in there about where is it that, or if you pledged, and I appreciate you saying that. I know you talked to me earlier about. I had a question about did you pledge while you were watching the following shows, and then I listed the shows that I was at just to get a gauge to see, where are the backers coming from? Are these shows, producing backers? And a lot of shows do, man. You'd be surprised how many backers you get from indie shows, because that's where indie fans go. And so, thank you, Lou. Appreciate you saying that. Yeah,
I did Apple Bites, and I got, I think, 4 backers from that show.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Big shout out to Rafael Tavares, our boy, man. He's been doing this thing for a long time, and he's been, he's always representing, always helping out the little guys. So I got some news, some new shows to check out. Oh, look at Lou. See, she is money. She is on a lot of shows, like as a spectator. She goes in there and just checks them out. I love that, Lou. Yeah. Do share with us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, man. So that's what's going on for the next. It's already the end of the year. We'll have a nice little recap for you. What's up, Kerry? How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, man.
We'll have a nice recap for you guys. End of the year is here, so
Word.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah. So are we ready? Ready for our guest?
I think we're ready, bro. Let's do this.
All right, because chomping at the bits in the green room, wondering why there's only carrots in there. You didn't put any cookies, no donuts, nothing, bro.
Healthy, bro. Healthy.
Oh, man.
Carrots are
What are you,
very
like
healthy.
Mongolian, bro? It's like, I don't understand this.
We're going healthy in 2026.
Yeah, but
Let's do this.
Let's do this. Welcome to the stage. Presenting David Starr. What's up, buddy? Welcome back.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, guys. Yeah, the carrots were delicious. As I'm getting up in age, it's like you got to be careful, though. Honestly, like the tougher fruit. Like honestly, I think I'm softer now. Like I've gotten older. It's legit. And you don't want to sit there cracking teeth too much.
Dave, what's going on, man? Good to see you, my brother. How are things? Good
to see you guys too. Yeah, it's been really cool for Metal Lord. My son and I have. My son's not here right now. He's sick, so I don't want him blowing his nose up on everybody. So he's chilling and making sure that he gets a little bit better before Thanksgiving. But we've been actually performing a bunch because our comic book is a band too. I know I'm jumping right into it, but. It's been really cool. We actually ended up getting we had done LA Comic-Con, met a fun cosplayer who was dressed up as a Blues Brother in a Ghostbuster outfit. Wow. I was like, what do we got going on here? And one of our songs referenced getting higher than Belushi, and I had made little stickers that had Belushi snorting up some tuna or some sushi, and I was like, dude, and my wife's like you gotta get a sticker here, and he's like, what is this? And he's like, I have a blues radio show, and I'm like, what? So it's Blues Cat Radio over. So, but he got us on the radio. So 3 songs from Metal Lord got on the radio.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, so it's been a really fun thing. I just got feedback too from our editor. My son had wanted to. He's like, before we set it on, I'm like, oh, it's good, man. He's like, I really want an editor, Dad. I was like, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. Let me invest a little bit of the funds here, and let's run this professional and have someone take a little look at this. So
let me tell you something, man. Kids are smart, man. Kids know what's up. They know what's up. But all right, so let's talk a little bit about that, right? So. For those who don't know, all right, so Dave, you have a book called Metal Lord, obviously.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about this book is that, most creators, you create your book and you're doing your thing. You created, which is very cool. You created this with your son, right? So tell us a little bit about the background and
absolutely.
How it began.
So my son loves telling stories, and I've always played guitar since I was before his age, his age now, when 12, 13 started playing guitar. But I always just liked having around, just noodling and playing stuff.
Yeah.
And he would often come up with lyrics and stuff, but we liked rock music and inspired by different things. But he really got into producing music too.
Wow.
And during that time, he loved telling stories. So he'd sit there and he'd always want to spitball ideas and stories. And we'd go see the Marvel movies with a couple coworkers of mine, and we'd sit there and pitch ideas. He'd constantly be pitching ideas to guys, and they were real good improv guys, so they always and we'd come up with a goofier story along with it. So we really enjoyed that. And he's like, Dad, I wanna write a comic book. And I'm like, all right, man. Well, and during that time, I was working on a Kickstarter for a project that I'd done quite a while back, 4 years ago now.
Oh, right.
Baby animals, and it was a series of paintings. So oil paintings that had a baby animal plus a scientist, and had actually their scientific discovery and a little explanation of their background inside of it. And I was like, okay, when I get this done, Todd, that'll be the project that we work on. We'll start on a comic book. And during that time, I'm like, I don't know how to launch a thing on Kickstarter. So I kept saying it on Facebook ads, finally found it. And I came across Comics Launch, and I actually reached out to Tyler, the guy who runs it. And I was would this, my son really wants to make a comic book, which I think this would be helpful for, but would this work for an ABC book? And he's like, my main thing's an ABC book, actually. And I'm like, okay. So I got that, and that course was really helpful in understanding how to crowdfund, which you guys are really, expert at. And that's the big key to that is how do you get a crowd? You know, how do you get a group of people that are, you know, the seed money to like push that over to where you can start gaining more folks. And so long story short, we kept talking about the project. He had a bunch of ideas, one for a band of superheroes that was going to be called Weirdos. In that time, I think they came out with an actual animated series called Weirdos or something like that. It was almost very, because it was like a terrible Avengers, you know, kind of thing. I think that's been done quite a few times. But he had another one where this kid was obsessed with metal music, and he had this mech, like this ancient mech, kind of come to life when he started playing metal guitar. I'm like, oh, this is really dope. Okay, cool. I really like what's going on here. I'm like, what if instead you had this alien invasion? Because we had been watching Voltron, and he loved like the old like Transformers and Japanese shonen kind of mecha, like Mangzinger Z and stuff like that, like the old Japanese stuff. And he's like, I was like, what if you had an alien invasion and this kid shredding guitar like bonds with the mech and ends up, it chooses him instead, like his passion for metal music, and he ends up saving the world. But the tagline is then everyone was a band, but this is a story of how I saved the world with my guitar. And I was like, and all of a sudden I'm like, because I saw it, like, I'm like, oh, dude, this has got, like, I can see the imagery on this. This is super dope. And he got super excited, and he wanted to be, he's like, because he loves getting into the lore and getting deeper and deeper into the project. So that's where he loves to live, is like, how do I world build? How do I make this so expansive and tell about the history? So we're big fans of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Yeah, and I really like that elemental kind of thing, and you have these sort of mythological stories that kind of help tell it. Yeah. And we were studying different mythologies because I had painting series, so I do like oil painting and stuff like that. Was my original side hobby or my main passion. So I show my artwork professionally, like old master kind of style painting, and so I had studied different myths, and I saw someone positing that not that the Big Bang was a myth, but that it was a story that was self-perpetuating. And I was like, oh, you know what I've never seen is a mythological telling of the Big Bang. And I love science, so I was like, what if you personified the fundamental forces of the universe, and that was our lore? Like, that was the backstory for it. Nice. So the idea being the creative source, the Big Bang, the creative, like, God or of this universe, or the creative spark, was actually noise. Like, so that was the idea. And then it fit, like, everything kind of layered with metal. And it was something I came up, like, I thought ideas on before, because it's really interesting how it, like, sunk up with stuff I had thought about before with, like, string theory. So I'd done these paintings and I play guitar. So the idea that every element in the universe is made up of atoms that are different frequencies. So the idea is, like, that's the sound, like, existence is made of different vibrations or sounds. Right. And so this is, like, Avatar, supposed to be this large tale, and it's a hero's arc and journey about this goofball, kind of Bill and Ted meets Dumb and Dumber meets Luffy kind of vibe of a character then going on a hero's journey, going on the full arc of the hero's journey, coming back as this reincarnation of that. Like, how does that play out? And that's his whole huge arc. So I was like, dude, you got this huge thing. How do we tell one story? I'm like, first, let's start with one story. And that's where became the arc. And this is the arc where we have the alien invasion. He saves the world. And that's kind of the first little arc that we go over in the first comic book that we have released, or that we're working on edit and will be releasing. And that goes through, because it's a quick release. Like, all of a sudden he wins and he saves the world. Like, okay, that's great, but I still don't have a band. So what's that? Like, how do I get the band? And then you have kaijus start coming through, and he has to battle them, and then the aliens that he beats and eventually become the band members and stuff like that. So that's the journey that he gets to take on. And then, of course, you have to have things get taken away. That super powered mech get taken away at some point. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the whole arc. So it's like game planning, like, how do you plan this out? I love big projects. I love things you can get super excited about. And he's really stoked about working on this project too. So it's been really cool to make this with him.
So you guys, all right. So you had this idea. So your son has this idea. You kind of like went in there and kind of like just started, brainstorming. At what point did you guys sit down and say, okay, what are these characters going to look like? And how was that conversation? How did that go for you guys?
Yeah, like so it was really interesting how we were very aligned in like what we could see for a vision for it when we started seeing it.
Cool.
So I had done some sketches as soon as we started talking about the story. Then I was doing drawings based off it, and my son and me were like, we are Metalord, like we are that main character. So I mean, like using him as reference at times seemed really fun. Like I did this large painting. I don't have it right behind me. It's at my home right now, but this is a 5 foot by 3 foot painting actually in the background, an oil painting of that. And that's him as that. But we also love the 80s vibe, like of Skeletor and He-Man. Like he shreds hard and becomes a skeleton. It's like, why do the villains always look so dope? Like I love Decepticons. I think they look like the look of them. Yeah. I'm in my heart an Autobot, but like the vibes of a Soundwave and Megatron are so dope. Like, and even like I have like a Nemesis Prime. Like he looks so tight like that. So the idea of being able to have these kind of Japanese inspired mechs. So I came up with this design, and my son liked to 3D model as well. It's another thing that he does in Blender. So he actually modeled out the characters for it. So we do sketches together. We just kind of sketch stuff around, but we knew we wanted the kid to be able to like shred and become a skeleton and kind of look like Skeletor if he was the hero, Right. And then we needed a cat girl to play bass because we're guys, we're like cat girls. Like why wouldn't you? And then that was part of the arc that comes in this first kind of wave of it. She comes in with her brother. They're both leopards, and one's humanoid and one's like more like a regular leopard. But in the battle in the story, I also know a little bit of metal history. So if you know the drummer from Def Leppard, actually lost an arm. So I was like, okay, we have to put that into the story that in the first arc, or the first part of the battle, loses his arm, loses his purpose for living, and then Metalord then says no, and he's doing a ceremony to end his own being or whatever because he no longer can serve his purpose as a warrior. And he's like, no, you have a purpose, is be my drummer. So it's like Bill and Ted kind of was like, or like that Luffy energy of that. Oh, duh, I got one frame of mind, but he keeps saving and inspiring people. And I don't know, it's just such a fun story. Yeah. But during that time, Tom got into making music. He wanted to produce music, and we'd always made music together. And he's like, Dad, I want to make a metal album for Metalord. And I was like,
that is awesome.
I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it, man. Like, that's great. I play guitar, so I'm like, I used to play in punk bands. I'm like, this is awesome. And he started producing, and he got hyper fixated. Before he said he didn't want to do that, he was working on game music, and especially for Undertale. He really loved Megalovania. So I don't know if you guys know indie games at all, but it was a real popular one probably a dozen years ago. They had like a record-breaking funding on it. And now they have a spin-off, Deltarune, which is another one by the same creator. But he had this kind of fun, like, main theme song on there that had this huge cult following called Megalovania. And it's got this little shredding guitar on there. So he was kind of had it in his mind. But this whole culture was they recreate that song in completely different genres. So every day he would sit there and he'd recreate that song. And he was working in MIDI and VST instruments, and he was like building it all out. And I'd be like, Tav, that sounds amazing. But like, if you just change the melody a little bit, it would be, you have your own song. Like this doesn't sound like the original. You can tell you're using those notes. But afterwards I realized, like, I was backing up his computer and he had over 300 instances of Megalovania and way more that weren't spelled like that. Like he had done this clearly hundreds, like, if not thousands of times. But what it did is it taught him to be a producer. Right, he didn't focus on melody. He didn't focus on trying to create another song. He's like, I'm going to create something sonically that's different, that gives a whole nother vibe. And he really grinded on it. He just got so passionate about it, but you really grinded to develop that skill. So it's been really fun to make music with him. Because then when we had it, he's like, Dad, you know that one song that you're doing? Like, that'd be perfect for Metal, or can we use it? I'm like, that must have been why I wrote it. Like, that was like, I wrote this stuff when I was like his age, or like probably right around his age, and like into college. Just riffs that were always in my head, or chord progressions. And he's like, okay, how do we do this? And I get him the notes and stuff like that so he could build it, because then he'd build up bass lines and drums and stuff like that for it. And I was like, dude, this sounds amazing. Right. And so we took it to one of his, because he had wanted to sing for it. We got him a vocal coach, and he's like, we played some music for him. He's like, Gustav, you produced this? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, you should set up and learn for sync licensing, like stuff for commercials and doing music for that. Right. And so I was like, okay. I'm like, I always enjoyed music and making it, and I played saxophone all the way through college. So I have some training in that. But I was like, I'll learn it and I'll help teach it, like, as we're doing it. We'll do it together, but I know he's not going to like really just going to sink in that much. So we started when he was 14, and but we've been doing it every year since. And now this last year and a half, like for his 17th birthday, we released an EP as Metal Lord. Like 5 songs, and now we've been releasing more, but learning like music marketing. So I'm like, okay. So we've actually started performing live now as Metal Lord. Wow. So we've been doing that lately, and then that led to, and then we got on the radio for it. It's just been really fun, a fun whole whirlwind. But I love the idea of being able to go to shows. You got the merch table, so we can make T-shirts for it. So we have Metal Lord T-shirts, and like we can have it. But you have getting the comic book, because we've made little zines that we would hand out like during there, and kind of like fun. I don't know if you know what zines are, but they're old school kind of little,
almost like little ash cans. Yeah,
exactly. Like they're like tiny little ash cans, but a sheet of paper that you can Xerox and flip up. And so these have been really fun to give out, like at concerts, because you try to explain it, and it's like, it's kind of hard to explain the story in a little bit, but I'm like, you could hand somebody a tiny little ash can or zine and hand that out. So that we've been doing that, and people like just get a kick out of the story. I'm like, this, I don't know. And when I heard it, I'm like, oh man, this could be something. So I've been very excited to make it with them.
Yeah, no, dude. The more you talk about it, the more to me it sounds like a show. It sounds like a cartoon. It sounds it has a life.
That's his vision where that can go. But we also love the idea that we're doing this because we homeschool as well. So it's like he's either producing music or drawing on the comic. So we've been releasing it as a webtoon, as kind of like a testing ground to start sharing the story at first. And now we've been modifying it to try to make it fit for the comic book. And get it up to the level that we want for it. But he keeps working on those aspects. But that's where I see a lot of kids his age. And when you get this huge concept, it's really hard to like put it down into a story then. You can get lost in that sea of world building. And that's where it's like, hey, man, we got to focus on, if people don't care about your main story and your character, they're going to never get to the lore. If you're so hyped about like that these fundamental forces are the characters that you're going to be seeing, and that they've been around for all of eternity, and like what would happen, what would be their motivation for that, and you're so love those. If you don't write the interesting enough story, and for us fun enough story that they want to dig deeper, and if you spell it all out, maybe there's less mystery there. So right. So it's been really fun to do that, but we drive each other in, and I think having that dynamic of me wanting to do it for him, and then him now seeing how much I've worked at it, feeling the pressure of like, oh, I gotta keep going for my dad to put so much effort into it, has been really good creative spark for this.
That's awesome, dude. I actually, you had a Kickstarter for it. I think it was a couple months, maybe last month or a couple months ago. I placed the Kickstarter, and I can't wait to get the book, dude. Like it looks really, really cool, and I love the concept. I love the story behind it. The fact that you guys are freaking, playing at shows and like have music to this thing it's insane how much you guys have done already. It's
really cool. It's really been fun to hear, because I get a kick out of listening to the music. So I've listened a lot because I'm trying to practice, and Todd's compositions are so challenging. It's one thing to play something once out of 100 times and get a recording out of it. It's another to say I'm going to step up in front of this thing and like just all of a sudden start pulling these compositions, and they're multi-layered tracks. Wow. So it's like I got to pick one of the things. So I've been working at it like a professional. I've been literally method acting is what I've told. So I've grown up my mullet. I've like literally I'm like every day I play for at least 2 hours. Wow. And it's been really fun because it's the best I've ever been at guitar. Like no, it's really fun. It's really fun what's good at.
Awesome, dude. So what show are you guys doing next? Like what's up? What's on the schedule? I mean, it's the end of the year. It's the holiday season. So what do you guys got going on?
Yeah, we don't have any the comic book conventions lined up, but what we've actually started doing is we've been doing open mics. So we go to open mics, and that's where we've been kind of hitting the local scene. We're in Fullerton, California. So in SoCal, it's near Disneyland, in between LA and Disneyland. And so they have a really nice art scene here. So it's been really fun for that community. And actually we got a spotlight thing. We're going to get an hour show coming up in February. So we've been trying to focus on, because we make music videos for each one of these two, because we wanted it to be an animated band. And Tom had done stop motion before on his YouTube channel. And I can put in the link, but it's all GustavStarr.com has all the links to the stuff. But on his YouTube channel, we had it since he was a little kid. We've always been storytelling together. But like we've done it. So we know how long it takes to do animation. I've done classic animation before. And somehow I still thought, oh, this is like Gorillas. Like the Gorillas. This would be dope. Or like Apocalypse. Yeah, we could just animate the band. And then I went to go make the first video, and I'm like, oh, this was a terrible idea. We're two people. Animation takes 100 years. This was a horrible idea. So it's now a live and illustrated band. Is kind of why I'm rephrasing it. When we get the budget and enough stuff for it, it will become a fully animated band. But right now it's more an illustrated band. But we've got a bunch of fun music videos that we've put together for it, and obviously a bunch of lore. So we're going to try to bring in and present the visual aspects from it, and have visuals going along with the songs, because each one of the songs kind of help tell part of a kaiju battle or the story. So if you guys want to check out some of that stuff, everybody watching, GustavStarr.com has all most of the videos, right? I guess the videos that it's got all the music videos on there, and then links inside there. I know on his YouTube channel we made a little video of when we heard on the radio. So I had to go down to Long Beach. It wasn't like a huge radius, but I'm like, I gotta drive to Long Beach and listen to our radio. But it was funny because I made these t-shirts back in the day of band touring t-shirts that we had, and our first comic book convention was Long Beach Comic-Con. So we put the first stop as Long Beach, and then we had LA after, and then we were going to do New York, and then it was Tokyo, and then it was the moon, and then it was Uranus. But like on the back of it. But what was really cool is we did do Long Beach, but this year we did Long Beach and LA too. So we did LA Comic-Con, so now we're going to have to do New York soon. But the first time we got on the radio in the United States, actually we got on in Brazil before this, but wow. It was Latin America loves metal. But we actually got on the airwaves in Long Beach as well. So it's really fun to see how that kind of all connects together.
That's cool. I'm actually up in I'm up north here in LA, in Cali, this for the week. And I've been the sun was still out, and you said you're out there. I'm like, that looks like some California sun. Yeah. So Sacramento's got a big indie creative scene also. I didn't realize how much creative stuff was happening in Sacramento. And so you guys should definitely just take a drive up, up north.
For sure. Do a tour of those sort of creative things. It's really a great Venn diagram too of folks that would get a kick out of comics, would get a kick out of metal music, and the folks that like metal or heart. It's kind of like I've learned more since we've done more music industry stuff. It's a little of the hardcore scene, because there's different genres. It's a little thrashy, it's a little hardcore. I don't know, because all the metal have different. It's a little hair metal too. We still kind of dance around our little genres for it, but it's how many of those folks dig on the idea of this comic. So it's like, this is really fun. So I don't feel like it feels inspired by both of us and like by whatever, like something else. So it's like, okay, I just got to make sure I do it right. Like, okay, how do I take this project and make it really cool and be a good shepherd for it? And it's something that I asked Hob, like, how long do you want this to be? And he's like, with all sincerity, he's like, it's like, not too long.
Right.
Something like One Piece. I was like, okay, sure.
Jesus
Just comic book of all time. It wasn't at the time, but this was he was younger when he said it. I don't know if he knew exactly what he said. I think he knew how long the story was.
Right,
he's like,
right.
like, not long. Not knowing, like, oh, that literally is the longest running by a single author comic book of all time. All right.
Yeah, I think in his mind, to him also, it's like, okay, not like Marvel and DC where it never ends. You know what I'm saying? So at least One Piece has an ending. So like, not that long, but let it end like that. And that thing.
I think you nailed it on the head. That's he sees an end to this arc, but it's only like 20, 25 years.
yeah, exactly.
Which I will happily do with him. I've seen plenty of rock shows recently too. If we get to continue to play music, that would be so dope. I would love to be playing when I'm 70 years old trying to shred on guitar. That'd be great.
Dude, this is awesome. I love the story behind not just the book itself, but the fact that you're doing it with your son, man. I think that's just incredible, man. That's incredible.
I feel really, really blessed to have him get excited about that stuff. And it's funny how much he digs almost more so than me on my nostalgia. So he feels this compounding nostalgia for the stuff we like together, and the idea to get to do that. And he's a real funny, like interesting character of a kid, but he's always been really kinetic. So he always loves to move and stuff like that. Had trouble in regular school because he just had to move. Like he's like, I can't just sit that long. And so it's like one of those things where we're constantly like, hey man, like, because we live in an apartment and stuff. He's like, hey, put on slippers or like walk like water. Let's become. When you put him in front of stage on a mic, every one of those movements and all the stuff he does, it's like, I'm like, oh, this is the appropriate home for all this stuff. Like, you don't train this guy to do anything. He sits in there and he just acts like himself. And it's like, oh, you're a front man. You are just 100% of the time a front man for a metal band. That's what's going on here. You're David Lee Roth, Mick Jagger, all the different metal genres like merged into one.
That is dope, dude. That is dope. So are your websites going to have like the updated kind of like tour dates or like where you guys will be?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great idea. We absolutely will have that. I haven't put it on because we've just been doing the open mic stuff. So that's this first one in February. It'll be at the end of February 28th. It's a Saturday. At 7 is when we're going to do our have our hour set. From there, so that'll be really fun to be able to produce. But we'll have that updated, and that's the goal, is to try to do some more shows that way, and then have the comic books there for that. Be able to launch it on that. Our Kickstarter, I left it open, like so people can still
good
right now, because I was actually waiting for this to launch and release before I finally closed it out. So absolutely, you can check out the Kickstarter still. There's a link on the website too, but. Or if someone still wants to jump in on it, but that's what's on the game plan there. And then we'll probably do Long Beach and LA again next year. Those are really fun and they're local for us. So Long Beach was our first comic book convention that we would go to as fans. So it was really fun to kind of get to do that spot. Cool. It's nice and small. And then LA's, it's one of the big guys. It's not San Diego, but it feels really big for us.
No, for sure, man. And yeah, man, if you guys do New York next year, I'm in New York, so let me know. And yeah, we got to link up, man.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's got to be on the list. If we don't do it next year, we got to do it. So I got to look into this. I got to start planning. planning.
Yeah, exciting stuff, dude. Exciting stuff. Sam, you got something? You got to say something?
No. It's like you got to definitely plan because New York is an expense.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the other thing. Yeah.
It's the reason why I've been holding off for a minute.
That's the one where you factored in. Once we start getting some more money that we have to have write-offs for, then we can dive into that. We always make sure when you run a small business, and I know it's a bunch of indie creators, keep track of everything. Keep all your receipts, write everything off, because I'm still in my day job office, but all that then becomes a tax write-off. So make sure you're doing your proper taxes on it. But you can write that stuff off and you need to. But that's where the LA and Long Beach, we can drive in and park for the day. We don't have to travel.
Absolutely.
So, real quick before you go, Dave. So, like the book that you have behind you, the A to Z, is that something that people can still get on your website and
Absolutely.
stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So
That
I
looks
can
dope.
stick a link, but yeah, A to Z baby animals .com is actually the website for it. And we have that link on there. If you go to David F. Starr, any of my socials, I have it linked in the bio for those. But this one's a really fun one. I've got a bunch of copies of it left because I got hard copies of them, and I got a nice big amount printed for it. But it's really cool. I wanted it to be a high-end art book that anyone could have on their table. So if you like baby animals, if you enjoy science, that would be the case. But then it's literally, you can look at the actual paintings, and these are, I want it to be lithography, offset printing, and you can see like this really high-end detail for it. And then it actually dives into the actual science. So we have thumbnails of sketches and a little breakdown of the scientist or inventor that inspired the page. But what's really fun is this painting of Curry plus cat. So was actually shown we have a local children's museum, the Discovery Cube, and they actually had that painting on display in the bookstore for quite a while. So it was super cool. I mean, I have so many projects and ideas because this one I wanted it to be its own science learning lab too, and have something where you can have hands-on stuff and learn about it too. So it's just I haven't stopped it. I just put that one on hold as Metalord has, it's time sensitive. Like I got to do this now with Gustav before I become too lame for him to want to do stuff with.
Yeah. Good point, man. Good point. Dave, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, my man. Thank you so much for coming on. Good luck with everything. You guys are doing some amazing stuff. People, if you're watching, make sure you still have the Kickstarter up. So go to Kickstarter, look up Metal Lord, and pledge to the campaign. How long will you have it up?
I'll probably keep it up until like before Christmas. I'm going to probably end it around then because I should have. We were hoping to get everything back from the editor around the end of Christmas, and then I can finalize how many copies we're going to get. Obviously, going to get extra, but it seems like a good time to end it, and that way we can cycle. Because I wanted to try to do one quarterly. We've got a bunch of the story. We have the whole first arc written, and it probably, when you do the math on it, it's probably going to take 3 years if we do a quarter of the stuff to get that first arc done. But it'll look like this on the cover, plus a cute cat girl bass player.
There you go. All right. Well, listen, Dave, you're welcome back whenever you guys are launching it or doing anything with it. Let us know, and then come back, man. Good luck with your stuff. Cool stuff. Big shout out to him. He's incredible. The fact that he's doing all the stuff that he's doing with you. So yeah, man. Awesome talking.
Yeah,
thank you so much for having me, guys. You guys are a really big inspiration. I really appreciate the support and all the love you're giving to all these creators. Like, it's so important what you guys are doing. Your passion for the projects and your own individual passion for your own projects are what going to drive that and inspire people. So just keep it up, everybody. Don't give up on it. The only thing that will make it stop is you giving up. So
that's it.
Absolutely,
that's
man.
Can't stop, won't stop.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, Dave. Take care, my man. It was good.
All right, that's David Starr. Go check it out, man. It's fantastic. The energy, the passion, the drive is infectious, man. It's infectious.
It really is, dude. It's like one of those things where it makes you kind of like after this show, just keep doing what you're doing, keep writing, keep doing whatever it is, and put your stuff out. Make sure you finish it. That's the whole thing. And Sam, we were talking about this. Finish your project.
Finish it, man.
Go out there and put it out.
Stop playing around.
Finish it. And that's
gotta be all in to win.
All in, man. All in. And that's exactly what David and Gustav are doing. And I love that it's a father-son team up. You know,
that's
what I mean?
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, that is awesome, bro. But I think it's time to get your meds, bro. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Time for your medicine.
Are comics and graphic novels shrinking? I told you it was cold outside. Stop acting up.
Stop lying. Stop lying.
When it's cold outside,
nice and sunny outside,
girl. What are you holding?
So are they shrinking? Now, What the heck are we talking about? Sam, we had a conversation about this the other day, and you were telling me about, where obviously you and I are about to put out some graphic novels in the next year. And so we're looking at, printers and what they're doing with these comics. And so talk a little bit about why we came up with this idea of talking about.
Yeah, it's like you and I must make a pact.
He said,
We
"Don't
must
scare me.
bring catch
Don't
the
scare
crazies back."
that's a good one. That
So you
is
like that,
true.
right? You like that?
That's
No, yeah, we were talking because I think it started a few months ago. We started talking about. I listened to first. We gotta give context. So I was listening to a podcast,
Yes.
and they were talking about how today's generation and preference in size of graphic novels. And when you look at, which is fascinating because floppies, comic book 6.625 by 10.25. Everybody knows it's standard industry standard. But when you look up graphic novel, it says US standard 6x9.
Yeah.
For which is definitely different from the floppy, right? So then we noticed that there's been a trend shift, and that today's generation prefers that size versus a comic book at 6.625 by 10.25, the standard size. So we were talking, and then we were talking about the cost of doing business too, right? And how cost effective it is to do it at that scale versus the larger scale. And then I saw an article by one of the bigger independents out there talking about their shift towards that size, and it put things into perspective. And as we're pricing and looking for the right printers, I was like, I guess that's the route to go going forward when we're printing the graphic novels. And I think that's what started the conversation. So we were talking about, like right now, Cosmic Wars is being illustrated at that standard, at that size, 6x9. Because so I don't have to go back and adjust sizes and formats and all that stuff. So I think that's what sparked the conversation. There was a series of articles. I heard it on a podcast. I saw an announcement from a publisher, and then I was looking it up. And when you look at manga, the kids that that love manga, they're all smaller size formats versus the industry US, the Western size comic books. So that's what sparked the conversation.
Yeah. No, I think that there's a lot that goes into, I think, why sizes of these books are getting smaller. I mean, obviously, like you said, the cost, right? The price behind selling something like that. DC, started creating these smaller sized graphic novels. They put like Hush in a smaller size. And I think part of it is to your point and what you were talking about is, they have to compete. Some of these American-based comic companies and stuff have to compete with the manga stuff, right? The manga stuff is a lot smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Kids can carry that in their pocket or whatever. They're thicker. There's more. There's more about, and they're cheaper. They cost less. I mean, they're black and white, and so that explains why they're cheaper in a sense. But it looks like the market is trying to compete with that now, and so the 6x9 graphic novel is something that you're seeing more and more. And I don't know if you've noticed it in stores. It is significantly smaller. Like it's not, you know what I mean? Like it isn't, your 6x10 in a sense. I know 6x9 doesn't seem like it's that much smaller, but it does. I mean, I think it makes a little bit of a difference.
What's interesting about manga, it comes in more sizes than a 6x9.
Yeah, it does.
You got 5x7s, right? But I think two things that the U.S. has to, the Western civilization has to compete with when it comes to Asian comic book creators. Number one, output, right? So the length of time it takes, because we do it in color, right? And we got the lettering, whatever. But you think of a mangaka, right? Mm-hmm. They're doing a 100-page or whatever, 150-page comic book within a specific time frame, and their output is tremendous. Right? They're able to produce these things on a fast pace, monthly basis. Boom, 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 boom. Where in the US, you'd have to have multiple artists doing, the issues to get it out, because it takes for, a month to produce one comic, 28-page or 32-page comic, or 24-page comic, right? So where they can produce 150-page graphic novel in a month or less, a week, the way they work, right? They move so fast. So I think so you're competing with that. They dominate market share. They dominate the shelf space in comic shops now. Their real estate is growing because the return on investment is significant for the comic shop owners, right? So because they know they're turning and burning while we're still creating. So to compete with that, right? So if we're saying today's generation, they would refrain from getting a larger size because they want the smaller size because it fits better on their bookshelves, it fits better in their book bags, then is that the best course of action? Is that the route we should take? And that's what I was thinking about. And so then I was like, okay, when I think about Cosmic Wars or Disney in My Toilet, yeah, that format would be perfect for those comics, right? And so that's where my head's at now. Is like I have to reformat Disney in My Toilet to that size, but with Cosmic, I'm starting from scratch at the size. So going forward, all of my graphic novels will be that size.
Yeah, as we're talking about this, do you remember the Archie digests? They used to be smaller. And I used to buy those all the time because they fit right in the front of the supermarket, right on the spinner rack. You would just be able to grab those. And the thing with something like that, the thing with comics, right? I hate the word floppies, but the single issues, you don't want to damage those. So you can't necessarily put them today. You can't necessarily put them in those spinner racks because that market doesn't exist anymore, and you're going to damage those comics, and people now collect them and they look as collector items, and they've always been, but more so now. So the single issue now is something that you can't necessarily throw around like that. Whereas a graphic novel, you can, because you're going to read that thing. There isn't that whole thing of, I don't think kids buy manga to collect it. They buy it to read it. They literally buy these books to read these books. Whereas comics now are bought to collect, to slab, hang them up on the wall, and forget about them. Forget about them. So now, though, what we're doing is, we want kids to read our books. We want our audience to read our books. So why not put them in graphic novels? And to your point, because I'm thinking the same thing, is not only is it just what the market is doing, so to speak, but also it's just cheaper for us to print it that way. And that way we can offer it to customers at $15 for a 140-page book versus having to charge $25, $30 for something that size. At a smaller size, if you can print more of it and you can print, at a cost where it's not going to break our pockets, we can, sell it for less because it's going to cost us less to produce it as well. So that's the other reason for going smaller on these books. And like you said, to your point, I'm going to be doing the same thing. When Wonder Duck comes out with the 8 issues, it's like 180 something pages. Yeah, a 6x9 graphic novel. Why not? With an ISBN, and see if you can put it in stores. And the shelf life of those books now is forever because you don't have to worry about, oh man, it's December, issue number whatever is out. By next month that issue is dead. No, now you have a graphic novel, a book. And now you can talk to Barnes and Nobles, you can talk to Target, Walmart, whatever, and see if they can put it on their shelves for you.
Take a look. It's in a book, The Reading Rainbow.
Rainbow. I heard are they bringing that back? I heard something about them trying to bring that back. Yeah, Reading Rainbow.
So. I love that.
Yeah, that was the joint. Yeah, hell yeah. So Kerry says, I've written a couple of single issue scripts, but it feels like I have a hard time making them sound epic. Sooner or later, I'll make a trade of my miniseries. Yeah, why not? Why not? Sam, do you write with the mindset of it's going to be a 22-page book, or do you write with the mindset of it's going to be a 140-page graphic novel or trade or whatever?
I write until I can't write. I think I write I write to finish telling the story with no specific end game in mind other than telling the story. And then so let's bring it back a little bit. So when I write the synopsis. Then in the synopsis, I think about chapters. I write like chapters, like it's a big, like it's a prose, right? So I was like, all right, chapters are the issues. So I was like, all right, based on this synopsis, I need beats, right? What are the beats? And based on the beats would tell me how many chapters I'm going to need, right? So like each adventure or saga is a chapter. And then I start writing the script, and the script will tell me if it's a 24-page book or 28-page book, or you know what I'm saying? So based on, can I finish that chapter in a concise way to be able to, number one, end on a cliffhanger, but also satisfy the appetite to be able to say, I got a good meal from this story, and now I can't wait for the next time I come visit this restaurant. Right. So it's almost like that mindset. It was like, so even like with Cosmic Wars, like I'm rewriting it as I'm going, and I don't know how many pages it's going to be right now, because as I'm writing it, I'm like, okay, some things I need to explore. So it might be a 30-page book, it might be a 32-page book. So I do know start, middle, and end, but when it comes to floppies, I don't give it a page count until I start writing, and then the goal to go, like for instance, Disney in My Toy started off as a 12-issue mini, and it ended up to be 10.
Yeah, I think that, yes, right until the story's finished, and I get that. I think that that's the goal, right? As creatives, that's what we want to do. When it comes time to actually print the book, though, that's when we got to think about, okay, how much money do I have to print this book? Can it be a 30-page book? Maybe I have to cut a couple of pages out because it'll be less expensive to print, you know what I mean? And then to me, because I did that even with Wonder Duck, and then once I went to the because nothing gets thrown out. Once I go to the trade, then I can expand it and add the pages that weren't in the initial run. You can almost add those as the never before published pages of the book, because we have control of that. You know, Dan says it just feels like a single issue is harder to sell than a graphic novel. What do you think about that, Sam? Because I have a thought on that as well.
It all depends on the price point. I think what I've learned from my experience, this is only from my experience, when I'm at conventions, depending on the venue and the pricing, because the cover price, if I put the cover price at, I usually do between 7 and 10, the best based on how much I'm spent for that convention, basically, and the cost, that the return on investment. So sometimes I will go lower; they sell faster, the singles versus the trade. But if my cover price for the single issues is $10, people will pick up the trade because the trade was $30 because they're getting 5 issues. So they would have been $50 if they bought all 5 issues versus $30 they got the trade. So it really is, it all depends on the cover price and mindset. You know, I think so. It's hard for me to put that in perspective, but I've been able to sell both. But the cover price always dictates what happens.
You know, I think like anything else, right? Like even Kickstarters, right? People will pay for what they want. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If they like it, they're gonna buy it. So, like, for example, to Dan's point, right? If you have a trade on a table or whatever, and they love the artwork, they're gonna buy it. They don't even care about the single issue. I love this book right here. I'm gonna pick it up. I don't care. What I have found is that the only issue I will print as a single or quote unquote floppy is the first issue.
Yep. One.
That's it. Just because if people are on the fence, that book will sell more than the trade if they're on the fence.
Yeah.
So I will always have issue number 1 available for you at a show for you to pick it up. And that book, you know, depending on, you know, if they like the genre or whatever, will most likely sell the trade. They'll come back the next day. Do you have issue 2? No, I don't, but I have the trade. I'll take the trade. And then the trade becomes easier to sell because they've already gotten a taste of that first issue. And I know some people do it where they, you know, you can download the first issue for free, and you can do that too. But I think at a show, I have the first issue, you know, it's a single issue. And that usually, because like you said, price point is important, right? And listen, the first issue of Wonder Duck, I have it at the table for like $10. And people will take a chance on $10. Even if it is because it's the first issue, it's an exclusive convention edition, whatever it is, whatever bells and whistles that thing has, they want it because it's the first, it's number 1, and that's what they want to buy. Yes. So I think number 1 is not a bad idea to have. I don't print that number 2, number 3, number 4. I don't. I just, that costs too much money to print. For that, I'll just print the graphic novel. I may have, like, you know, my book is in stores now. Wonder Duck is in stores. So I have, you know, first edition or, you know, first printings of the other or I will have of all the issues. So I'll make a set and sell those as sets at comics, but I'll never sell them individually at comics because it just for me it's not cost effective for me, to print
Yeah,
out
I have that
stuff.
same philosophy. Once I sell out of all of my consecutive issues, I'm just sticking to number one and the variant covers for number one.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah,
But and then just a graphic novel. Same thing with Forbidden. I'm not printing any floppies for Forbidden. I'm just doing the hardcover and soft cover, and that's what I'll be carrying at the trade show. So really, you can't with Forbidden. I'm not going to give the option to be able to pick up a number one because I'm just going to sell the books. But with Cosmic and There's Anything in My Toilet, I'll always have a number one. Forbidden to just be the books. I'm not printing any single issues with
right.
that.
Oh, you're not going to print out even issue 0 or anything like
No,
that?
no. And but they can they can go online. I will offer a digital version of issue number one, issue 0, that they can download by order online, and they can download that. But because real estate, I also got to think of real estate, right? Because I'm also a print artist and a sticker artist, right? So I need real estate for all that. So I want to make sure that I'm not sitting with like, I need to make room for issues, all these issues. I'd rather just have the graphic novels once, There's Anything in My Toilet, I'm done. Issue 8 comes out in spring. But once I'm done with that series, I'm going to do it as an omnibus. Boom. I'm going to have one big omnibus, right? With all 10 issues right there. And plus Forbidden, and then Cosmic Wars, where that goes, and then the art book.
Yeah. Kerry says currently project is a part 1 of a 2-parter. We'll talk about that on 127-26. Nice tease, Kerry. Kerry will be back on the show on 127. So I like that. Anibal says, I think as an indie, we have a better chance with a trade. Folks will hesitate with single issues because when is the next issue coming?
Yeah, and I think I've been fortunate enough with There's Anything in My Toilet in Texas that the people that come to the shows are repeats. So they come for the follow-up issues, right? And so they started out with the single issues before and had the trade, and they continue with that journey. New people who never picked it up, they start off with the trade, and then they want 6, 7, and 8. Then they'll pick up the floppies right after. Yeah. And they'll pick up the trade, and they'll also pick up a one cover just to save it, because they know the trade they're going to read, but they save the one cover, and they always ask me to sign it. I'm going to keep this just in case this blows up. I got the number one, right? So there's a different mindset. So I've seen also when you have new people that are introduced to my product and I already have the graphic novel, they pick that up plus a single issue. People who've come and purchased before the graphic novel, they just continue with the floppies.
Yeah. I was gonna say like that trade, having that trade at the table proves to them that there is an issue 2 and an issue 3 and an issue 4. So that trade helps drive the single issue sometimes because, like you said, they want both now. They want that first issue to collect and keep it closed and never read it or whatever. And then they want the graphic novel to read and do whatever they have to do, or the trade or whatever, read and whatever they have to do. So it could work both ways.
Yeah. And I think when you're not doing offset printing, you got to find the best cost effective way to be able to print your product without hurting the consumer with the price points, right? But it's hard, right? Because if you're doing low print runs, your cover price is gonna have to make up for it, right? Because it's high. You're paying more for shorter print runs versus offset printing. You're paying higher, and then you can significantly reduce it, right? But that costs money. So if you're doing a graphic novel and you're doing a offset printing for a graphic novel, to produce 1,000 copies or whatever it is, you can sell them for $10-15, right? But you got to pay $5,000 or whatever, $4,000 or whatever upfront or whatever it is to try to make up the cost, to print that offset. So unless you have that in the bank, you're going to do short print runs of 50 to 100 at a pop, right? So that means your cover price has to be relative because you're paying for the print, the proof, the shipping, and the taxes and all that stuff. And then you have to have some sort of return on investment so you can continue to print.
Yeah. Dan says it's hard to do Kickstarter campaigns for single issues and then make the switch to the trade and not feel like you're cheating your original backers. Yeah. You know, it's interesting that you say that, Dan, because I think that, you know, there's that thing of like, oh man, you know, is it Kickstarter fatigue in a way, right? Like if you have issue 1 and then you have issue 2, 3 months later, or and then issue 3, issue 4, some people enjoy that and they will come back for it. A lot of people just get tired of pledging to the campaign and they just stop. For me, you know, obviously I did the first chapter of the graphic novel for the Shameless Plug, and I'm going right into the trade. So, I think that for me and what my plan is, and this is why I did the whole cap thing and I did the whole fun thing. Well, like you can always just grab the graphic novel from me if you see me at a show and you can just get it for free. But I think what I'm going to do also is for those backers of the Kickstarter, for example, if you order a book, because now you're going to order that graphic novel from me. I'm not going back to Kickstarter. It's going to my website. And anybody who pledged to the campaign will get a discount on the graphic novel because you pledged to the campaign. You understand what I'm saying? So now, because you are a backer, you get a backer discount basically on the graphic novel, so that at least, I'm giving something, trying to make a thing where like, hey, listen, if you back me, I'm going to look out for you. You'll get a discount on the graphic novel. So that's what I'm going to be doing on my website. And, just that way you don't feel like, damn, dude, I just pledged to the campaign. What the hell, dude? Like,
But I want to put things into perspective for Dan and all of us indies, right? You got to think about it. On average, you're getting anywhere between 20 to 100 plus backers, right? That's not even a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a percent of the population that's out there that's consuming comics, right? So you can't shortchange yourself to think that because your goal is to attract as many new people to back your Kickstarter as possible, right? So you're going to have your regulars. If they say, I already got the floppies, I don't want the trade. The goal is to attract new backers to your project because you want to get to as many people as possible. I think what happens is we keep forgetting that there are millions of people on this planet, and there are thousands of people that don't even know we exist. They've never seen the project before. So the goal is to reach those people and not you want to embrace the people that are ready and you want to keep taking care of those people. But the goal is not to just focus on that group. It's to really expand and reach as many as possible. So the potential is significantly higher, right? So you might have a couple of people that backed your book before that might not want to come back for this campaign because I got the I got the floppies. I'm not going to back this one because I don't want the trade. But imagine all those other people that have never seen your stuff before, or the people that maybe followed it but didn't pull the trigger on the last campaign. Now you want to be able to get back to them and try to convince them to come over. So there's so much potential to grow. We keep, and it's hard, right? Because if your average, I don't know, 15 campaigns. If your average is 40, 50 backers, how do you break that fourth wall, right? To get to 75 backers, to 100 backers, to 200 backers. There's so much potential. So we got to get creative on how we reach the many and not get singularly focused on the average, because the average is what is. The many is what's possible, right? So how do you get to that?
Yeah, I think we have to look at Kickstarter as what it is. It's a crowdfunding campaign. It's to fund a project. It's to earn I don't look at it as that's why I'm going to build my audience. I don't. I look at it as that's why I'm going to fund the project that I'm creating. That's the way I look at it. That's why I have a website. That's why I did pre-orders on my website, because to me, that's where my fans are going to go, to my website. They're going to go to Kickstarter because they know Kickstarter and they want to check out some stuff and they want to pledge and they want to support, and but that's what people do on Kickstarter, right? Like, oh, this is cool. Let me throw some money at that thing and see what happens. Does that mean that they're going to become fans? Yes, there's a possibility that they will. It doesn't guarantee it. Right. But if they're looking for my website, that means they want what I have. Yep. And so those are my fans. Those are the people that like what I do. And I want to bring them to my website and get them away from Kickstarter in a way, because, hey, listen, Kickstarter at the end of the day takes a percentage. Yeah. And I'm not saying that our websites don't, because we pay for our websites. And when every time you slide that credit card, there's a fee that's coming out of it. So it's not like we're getting 100% of what people are purchasing. That's silly to think. But you're getting less taken out from what you earn. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way I look at it at Kickstarter, which is why, like, I support a lot of my indie friends and stuff like that. And after a while, you can't support everybody, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? You can't throw money at everybody. And when our our friends or whatever have a Kickstarter every 3 months, it's hard to support one every 3 months,
Yeah.
right? But if I see you at a show and you have your book at a show, I'll give you money then and there. So just because I didn't pledge to your campaign and I didn't come back to your campaign doesn't mean I don't like your book, doesn't mean I don't want to support you. It just means, hey, like funds are limited to a certain extent.
Yeah, and
I
put it
can't
in,
support
when you put it in
everybody.
perspective, I think when we launched, I think there was like 17 people that's been on our show launched at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
they've
Yeah.
all been on our show, right? So when you think about it, the volume of people that are just flooding crowdfunding, you're competing with that, right? And that's basically what it is, because you're competing for dollars, right? You give the investors, right? You want to get, you want to get funded, you want to drive that, you want to make the money so you can print your books, but you're competing with dollars and cents, right? And so it makes it that much more difficult, And so I think, the challenge is being creative. I think you hit it on the nail. It's the same thing with Ripperverse, right?
Yeah.
They focused on their website. They
Mhm.
drove the crowdfunding. They broke records. They got on the news. They changed the landscape, right? And so I think you touched on it. It's like we spend so much time promoting on other people's platforms,
Yeah.
and we're paying for a service that we're not even using strategically, because we think Facebook's going to make us big, we think Kickstarter is going to make it big, right? And we're giving all of these platforms notoriety and recognition, and we become the afterthought. We got to figure out how to become the primary focus, not the the secondary focus, and that's the hard part, right? It's when we change mindset, because we think the more platforms, and I'm guilty of it, bro. I'm like on 17 different platforms. I'm like, the more platforms we're on, right? And but that's not what I realized just by doing conventions, that my art channel has gotten me more supporters than any other platform. And you've seen it. I love your art channel. I love seeing you on YouTube. I did.
Yeah.
Right? And it's that because people want to be entertained.
Yeah.
People want to be entertained. They want to learn something. They want to relate to something, right? They want to be inspired. And we have to create content, and we have to create, material that's going to inspire and ignite people's creativity, imagination, whatever. We just got to start rethinking and taking back our brand, because right now our brand is tainted because it's everywhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Facebook
No,
is getting the recognition. We're just supporting Facebook when they're not supporting ourselves.
Yeah. Dan said, I have only done campaigns for my single issues, but not my trade, which I printed up for shows. Okay. Yeah. See, that's a good strategy right there too, though. Bro, I never pledged to so many at the same time. Aniva says about Kickstarters. Dude, yeah, it's real. That shit is real.
I started running out of money. I was like, yo, I'm done.
I was like, when
Tap
is this
out.
one?
I'm
When is
tapping
this?
out.
Yeah, when does this one end? Oh my God, I got 2 days. Let me make sure I got everything in there.
Yeah.
So Carrie says, as much as the big backers pay for rewards that they know are inflated, I believe they often just want to be part of the event itself. Yeah, it becomes an event.
Marky Mark in the Funky Bunch.
I wouldn't say tainted, more like diluted.
Thank you, my friend. I couldn't find the word. Thank you.
Mark comes in, you know what I mean?
That's
that's what he does. That's what he does.
I needed it. He had my 6. I was like, I couldn't find the right word. I was like, dang.
Oh man, nah, man. But yeah, no, this is interesting, man. This is interesting. Maybe we should pick this up. Maybe we should pick this conversation up. What's next week? What's happening next week, Sam?
Next
December
week.
2nd.
What do we got next week? Hold on 1 second.
Who's on? Who is on? I got you, says Mark. Big shout out to Mark. Mark Torres. It came from the radio. Big shout out to him and his book, Designated, which is actually on Crowdfunder. Crowdfunder, no E, crowdfunder.com. So check that out, guys. It came from the radio. Mark Torres, great book, great guy. He's been doing this for a long time as well, supporting indies from when I remember him from when I started. He was doing his thing, and it's actually on the radio.
Yeah.
So big shout out to him.
Yeah, we have David Howard next week, and he's going to be promoting his Kickstarter is launching soon, called Space Monkeys #1.
Love it. I think Lou Pine, if she's still in the chat, I think she's got a cover that she did for NEM for that book. So big shout out to Dave. I can't wait to talk to him next week. That's awesome.
Yeah, she does have a cover. I'm looking at it right now. Yes,
she's amazing. And big shout out to you. Lou did a piece for me for the Shameless Plug, which you guys will be able to see, and I will be offering that. Yeah, she did. So stay tuned for that. I know you guys have some stuff that you guys are working on as well. So, but more to come on that.
More to come. Yeah. So no, this was a fantastic show. And again, thank you everybody who participated in the chat. Thank you to our guest, David Starr. Fantastic. Very inspirational backstory. I love that whole father and son saga. I love that everything's tied to music and creativity. It's really dope. It's inspiring. Again, please like, subscribe, and share. Crazy Comics. We're the first and longest running independent comic book podcast in the game. We created it for indies by indies, because we wanted to give our brothers and sisters out there a voice when there was none. Now you got millions of choices, but we're the OGs, and we're here for you. So you want to be a guest on Catch the Craze podcast, just hit the link in the chat. Remember, if you're listening to us on any of the audio platforms, head over to YouTube, subscribe, like, share, leave a comment, let the algorithms work in our favor, because when we grow, the independent community grows. So thank you, everybody. Again, it's a great show tonight. With that said, I am Sam, the crazy man, Vera.
George, the Dreamer Medina.
And we are
It's just easy. It's not.
Crazy. Acquiesce.
No, it's talking about my friend Acquiesce. Say my name, right?
This is what you were thinking? Oh,
How he described me? He said, I'm the...
What? Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze. On Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.
Candy girl.